has stopped. I'm the abandoner.
I think the main idea came from Tourniquet, didn't it? I think it was when we were working on Tourniquet, and we sent over a version to Dan to try some ideas over, and he sent back two versions, one with the full band and one with just the ambient stuff that I'd added, and we all kind of went, that's interesting, and yeah, so it obviously wasn't going to work for the album, but we thought there might be something there that we could come back to later, and so that was kind of the idea, was to try starting the songs in that direction and just seeing what happened if you tried to rebuild them from the slightly less heavy elements.
I think when it's all mixed down, especially with the music that we tend to write, which is quite heavy, lots of big guitars and drum sounds, for me, my vocal can sometimes, or like the delicate nuances and certain phrasings and certain harmonies are mixed to a degree to fit in with the music, so you don't necessarily hear all of the detail.
Because there's so much going on.
There's so much going on, yeah. So I think it was nice to just have the vocal as a starting point and almost rearrange the music around the vocal.
It's a stripped back version, essentially, isn't it? It's more relaxed, but also eventually gets to a form of climax. It builds up.
But I think there's something as well, because obviously you write on guitar. The guitar is always very central to the arrangement, so once everything's finished, it's quite interesting to take everything apart and go, okay, what if guitar isn't essential to this arrangement? And then it means you can build up on piano and other stuff, and then by the time it came back to you, you could add guitar as like ornamentation rather than it being like the bedrock of the song.
With Survival, you started it, didn't you? You sent me, I can't quite remember what it was, I think you just did like the verse and chorus. You sent me the stems, which I had a bit of a play with, and messed around with the drums. I think the first thing I did was do the new middle section, so we got rid of the heavy whatever section that was, and just kind of replaced it with again, kind of Perfect Circle-y vibe riff. I think I must have been listening to a bit of Perfect Circle at that time. But, I think that was the main new different bit for me, was just kind of having a bit more of a grungy middle section.
I remember hearing that bit and I was like, that's so good, we should put it in again.
Yeah, it would have been nice to go back to it.
I guess it was taking the song in a completely different direction.
Yeah, didn't want to change
Plus,
it.
you don't want to overplay your hand, do you? You know, it works really nicely for what it is, and I think coming back to it might cheapen it a little bit. But that was a funny one for me to work on that, because that was the first thing I did, was strip away all the guitars, and because there's just this huge, the chorus especially, it's just this layer of guitars. You get the lead line and then the chords and the octaves and all various little layers of guitar harmonies, and just getting rid of all of that and seeing, well, it kind of just left the vocal really bare, didn't it? Which was really nice, and it was nice to see that it worked as a song without the layers of vocal arrangement. I remember working on it when I left it with you, and you popped up at like 2 a.m. on Facebook chat, and you were like, "I'm putting funk guitar over the end section," and I was like, "I want to hear this," and then I was like, "I don't think that's a good idea, Acle," and you were like, "No, this is creative time," and then like 11 a.m. he pops up and he's like, "Oh, I'm really hungover, and those funk guitars were a terrible idea."